Scared for life. After a harrowing near-death experience, emotionally fragile mother-to-be, Sarah, is still struggling to come to terms with her loss. Overcome with silent grief, Sarah now seeks solace in work. However, she is on a collision course with sheer terror when a knock at the door in the dead of night chills her bones to the marrow. Now the raven-haired late-night visitor in black wants something precious from Sarah and will stop at nothing to get it. Okay. I don't know how I feel about this film. It was very effective and it was very intense. And for that, it's a good film. But at the same time, it was very violent and very bloody. And I feel like you can get the same message that this movie might be trying to show or explain, which I don't exactly understand what it is still, without such violence, which makes me a little conflicted about how I feel about this film. Because, to be fair, I like some movies that are quite violent, but this movie is very violent. So I'm going to first give my spoiler-free opinion, and then I'm going to give my spoiler review. The spoiler review, I don't know if it's going to make as much sense if you haven't seen the film, but at the same time, I don't know if I can recommend it. So, first things first, the soundtrack in this film was very good, and it really helped the film be effective in its intensity. Because it was a very intense film. Maybe not like crazy intense for some people, but for me, I thought it was quite intense. And at the beginning, I didn't feel very invested because there's a few times I've tried to watch this film, but I just didn't. I don't know if I was interested or there's just a few reasons, and so I didn't get as far. I got like probably like 5 minutes or something like that. I don't know, like barely in. So I seen that part, I guess, the first couple minutes. So I wasn't as like invested, but I think that's why this film really starts to get intense. It really it starts going. And yes, this film is it's very effective, but I still don't know how I feel about all the gore in this film. There's many ways you could have done this without all the gore. So I don't know if that makes it more effective for some people or if it really reinstates whatever this film is trying to say. And so this film is a harder watch. And I really, really recommend reading trigger warnings before watching this film because there is a lot of things that you would probably want triggers for. So please, please, please do that before you watch the film. Honestly, I don't know if I can recommend it or not. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I'm just so conflicted on how I should rate this and how I feel about it, but it was very effective. I was very invested. I don't know if it's something you could watch all the time, though. Okay, I'm going to get into my spoiler reviews. Okay, the sound effects they play, especially when someone's getting hurt, is really good. It really adds to the film, by this in the soundtrack and this the sounds that they use. I thought it was really effective. It really added to it. The lady is lurking around before she ended up attacking, and just seeing her in the background, it really added to this film's intensity. And I really like that, where you're watching the film and then you see the lady in the background, like, oh no, what is she gonna do? And yes, it was very intense. I have a few questions, like why would the lady use scissors? Why didn't she come in with a gun? Or like wasn't she fully prepared? And like I felt bad for the cat. I will admit, because of like having to read subtitles, I don't know if I fully understood everything that was going on. I don't know if I fully grasped some of the things. The dude's like head exploded. One of the guys, his head, when he gets shot and his head kind of explodes. It looked kind of cool. I'm gonna be honest, like the effects. Soundtrack's really good. I didn't like how the lady like stabbed her pregnant belly. Like that part was just kind of that was a hard watch. But then again, this film, there's another scene. I guess I call it the C-section scene or whatever. That was a very difficult watch because I think the baby survived at the end. I'm more okay with this film. And this film probably has a lot of meaning that I just don't really understand. And I want the people who have seen this film, I really want you to tell me what you got out of it. I'm really debating on how very violent content, if it has meaning, if it means anything. Like if a film has I know films don't always have to be very violent for them to get their point across, and I really want to know other people's opinions on violent films trying to get a point across, and if we need a violent film and if we should make a violent film when we could try to get the same message across in a non-violent way. And I just really want to know everyone's opinion on that. Thank you for viewing. Bye.